Hello everyone. Let's look at Python jobs in the UK, April 2024. I've done a few of these videos in the past and it'll be interesting to chronicle the progress of the salaries and also the technology and the job descriptions as time goes by. So these may be interesting in the moment, but also they'll be interesting in the future. Imagine going back and looking at sort of a 10-year-old video like this, where you could see the progression of the technology and the skills and the salaries and everything. So um, let's just start at the top. So search was Python developer, no specific geography in the UK. So the first one, London. So just for info, if you're not from the UK, the London jobs will typically be paying all 50% more, maybe huge amount more. Obviously, there's a lot of financial services in London, and that skews the salary. So work from home to 100k. So yeah, that's so Django, REST API, software as a service, AI, London, blah blah blah. Okay, so let's tick work from home as well. The reason why I'm doing that is because if you don't tick work from home, you get a lot of listings for on-site jobs at, for instance, military locations, which, yeah, I won't cover that. I've got a bit of a issue with that, but I don't particularly want to be driving to site either. So here we go, Python developer, 50k, hybrid UK. Let's actually read the bigger description. So bias towards front end React. Strong background machine learning or AI, strong knowledge of PyTorch, Hugging Face, TensorFlow. Urgently needed. Okay. Experience of ML ops would be a benefit, small but growing team. So it makes a big difference whether you join a small team or a big team. The culture will be massively different. The worst thing is to be working from home as part of nominally a large team, but you end up working on a project by yourself. Lead Python developer. Wow, look at that salary. Okay, Django, SQL, Kubernetes, stock options. Wow. So trading platform, brokerages, blah blah blah. TDD, clean code, refactoring, agile. A lot of these words aren't particularly appealing to me, but if they are to you, then yeah, that's quite lucrative, I would say. There we go. So required skills, and I guess this is kind of when we look back at this video, hopefully in a few years' time, if YouTube still exists, this will be kind of this will be like looking back and seeing Netscape. So again, when you start learning Python, you do all the tutorials, and then really you need to specialize. And obviously, the gold rush at the moment is for AI. But whatever you do is quite it's there's going to be a lot of so Python, SQL, TDD. You'll always need a bit of that. DevOps, you'll need a bit of Docker, FastAPI. I do love FastAPI. I think it's amazing. The documentation is just phenomenal. Sebastian Ramirez. So Python senior developer. That looks very low for a senior developer, but the location is not London. So again, if you're not familiar with the geography of the UK, Norwich is maybe, I don't know, 80, 100 miles from London. But yeah, so that would probably be, yeah. So 45, that would be 70 or 80 for us, what should be for a senior Python developer. Senior Python developer from 38,000. To be honest, £38,000 is borderline average wage in the UK now. Hands-on development role. High standard knowledge of Python, security standards and specifications, DevOps. Oh, UK HSA. I think that's health and safety or something. So it's basically a government. It's either working for the government or for a contract on behalf of the government. Um, 38 to 48. So I know I keep mentioning the salary, but in this day and age, the salary is obviously crucial, especially if you're trying to pay a mortgage or pay bills. It's all very well thinking of your future career and everything, but I think it's getting to the point where the time is now, really. You need to be able to pay your bills now, and who knows what the future is going to bring. You need to be earning money now either before everything blows up, or we all end up on universal basic income. Working sprints, Scrum, oh, it's putting me off already, especially for that salary. Oh. So support and fix bugs in existing applications using standard debugging tools to track down and identify root causes. Yeah, that let's move past that one. I'm going off that one. .NET embedded. So to me, I don't think. I'm guessing they've probably got Python somewhere in the description. But okay, so this is interesting. So it's embedded C, embedded C++ for embedded Linux, along with Python for any testing. So embedded Linux wizards. Team of 30, UK based. Hybrid working. So be careful when you're looking for jobs that are, so say, remote. There's no point having a remote job that needs you in the office 2 days a week, and then that's a 200-mile round trip, especially with train fares. For instance, a train fare in the UK is probably 100 or 150 pounds return to London. Once if you're from one of the counties down the road. So what was I going to say? Testing. Yeah. So with even some of the biggest software projects in the world, even if you think, oh, well, that's all going to be some other language. For instance, the core Bitcoin project, huge amount of Python in there, which is for all the tests. So yeah, just because something doesn't look like it would be Python related, there will be a lot of Python tests going on behind the scenes. I'm sure many of you know that, but just I talk through these videos as if you're not from the UK, and also as if you've not got a huge amount of Python experience. Graduate software developer. Again, you wouldn't be able to afford to live in London on that salary, even if it's just for a year. That would probably push you £10,000 in debt. You'd be living off credit cards. Although work from home, company based in London, yeah, I don't think. Leave in the comments if you're interested in graduate jobs. I'm happy to do a similar video like this in the future based on graduate jobs. But data analyst and can't even say it, visualization developer. Okay, so GCP, Looker, Python, SQL. Oh, data analyst with an interest in positive change in the fight against climate change. There's so many I'm not a climate change denier, just to put that out there before I get shut down. But there's so many contradictions with climate change, and yeah, I don't know if you've seen what's gone on in certain country that's been flooded in the Middle East recently. Um, yeah, sure, climate change is man-made, especially when it's spraying things from airplanes. Um, .NET. Oh, we go. Health. I think health will be a growth area, especially with AI and Python. Probably stating the obvious there, but it's always just good sometimes just to say it out loud. React, JavaScript type, Node.js, Python, building, testing, deploying applications on the cloud platform, preferably AWS. Yeah, so leveraging machine learning and clinical innovation to reshape the delivery of primary care. Um, and I know I'm critical of many things, but I think AI and Python is fantastic. It's amazing that AI and Python can be used for, particularly if you've seen the way that AI can identify problems or identify um, I don't know what it's called. I'm not medical enough, but the way AI can analyze X-rays, should we say, for instance, for identifying tumors or anything like that. So yeah, AI for health is a fantastic thing. I think personally, the funding of it, that's another story, but just the process of checking X-rays with AI, great, wonderful thing that is. Okay, so junior software developer, 50,000. Again, that's London. Let's just check that they don't need you in the office 2 days a week. Okay, so what have we got? We've got, that's just word salad, isn't it? What a ridiculous. If you're driven by innovation, want to be at the forefront of groundbreaking solutions, join a brilliant cutting edge software solutions, complex challenges and finance, algorithmic trading, blockchain based solutions to DeFi applications. So if these are VC funded, so venture capital funding, and it's anything that has got what's called initial public offering, many of these companies are funded, and then they create some kind of fangled blockchain products, and then they keep half of it for themselves. And then once the price is shot up, then they sell off their half, take a massive profit, and then everyone else gets rug pulled. If you know what rug pulled is, don't know what rug pulled is, it just basically means somebody's somebody's taking advantage and getting kind of first move on you, and you're getting wrecked. So Java, Python, C++, or JavaScript, problem solving, blah blah blah. A levels, A, B, B or above. A levels in the UK, if you're not from the UK, A levels are very difficult. So if you've got those, then well done to you. Let's look at the other site then, and let's go across to technojobs.co.uk. What we've got here, we got so I'd put in the same thing, just Python, no town or postcode. First job that came up, um, I, you may or may not know that I've got another channel, which is my Rust channel, that I'm aggressively trying to learn Rust. So the first job that came up, I guess these are sponsored listings, but C++ Rust developer. This, I can tell you, is Gloucestershire is where the UK GCHQ is like the English equivalent of the NSA. So that's where they want the highest vetting possible outside of government, really. DV, developed vetting, is where they check everything about you. They check your family, your family's family, all the backgrounds. I was once told that it was basically so that you're not going to be, well, I won't say the words, but because it will probably flag me up. But they also want to check that you're not in financial difficulty where you could be bribed and you could do bad things. Software engineer, Southampton University. If you're ever looking at jobs with not Southampton, with universities in general, they're often fixed term, so they could be fixed for 1, 2, this one 3 years. Not a great salary again. I think the national average for salary is something like that. Um, And don't be fooled by, because it's university, you think, oh, you get 3 months holiday in the summer. You won't. Most university jobs in the UK, you only get 4 weeks holiday, just like every like a normal job. Kingston on Thames, that's near London. Software architect, 60 to 80. Team lead, work from home. Django. So Django's still very, very popular. Let's look at this one, VBA, Oh, it's in Dubai. That's the place that I was talking about earlier with the lot of rain, shall we say. I would say this is probably quite niche, and it might be. Keeping existing things maintained. I don't know enough about VBA anymore, but I don't think it's the future. That's just my personal suspicion. Um, Again, if you're from a kind of open source Linux background, then VBA is probably hopefully it's a dirty word. So this looks interesting. Python automation engineer, Flask SQL video, agile, visual quality, QA engineering. So some database, some JavaScript front end, DevOps. So basically, it's a full stack job, isn't it? It's tantamount to a full stack. I don't know. Maybe it's is it front end? Is it public facing? New features and integrations for the visual quality test framework to. Okay, so it's probably it looks like it's for tools and infrastructures for their internal test framework. Okay. So that might be good. You might not actually be doing sort of loads of fancy stuff. You might actually just be doing something that kind of works. And I'm talking as minimalist, but you might be doing something that just works, does the job, and it's not too you're not over worried about having loads of confetti and things like that. Yeah, that's all right. Again, if you have to go to London, then 40 to 50 is just not very good salary, really. Presumably they'd pay your travel costs and all that. Contracting job. Let's have a look at contracting job just while we're here. These sort of salaries were commonplace probably 5 years ago, so I would say that's not really kept up with inflation. You'd be wanting the higher number there, really. Okay, so Django, Flask, Docker, 5 to 8 years experience. What was the salary? Okay. Can be based anywhere in Europe. And if you're based in a country that had kind of a favourable exchange rate and you could kind of live for £800 a month or say €800 a month somewhere cheap, then yeah, that's probably it's good that you can work anywhere in Europe. Docker containers, so these are pluses. What are the highly experienced in multi-processing, asynchronous Python development? What is the product? Doesn't actually say, does it? But okay. Let's just look at a couple more and then we'll wrap it up. But I just think it's nice to capture these kind of jobs over. And again, as I say, it might not be amazingly interesting right now, but in 1, 2, 5, 10 years, this might actually be um, quite interesting to see what's changed. IoT security company. Let's look at this one then. So OOP, software lifecycle, Jira, Pytest, Poetry Experience. Sorry, I just jumped down there to start with. Huge waves within the industry shaping partners, blah, blah, blah. Pytest, good old Pytest. One of my most popular videos was a Pytest video I did. Nothing wrong with Pytest. And again, going back to what I said earlier, many software companies will write or build things in other languages, but there's a strong chance there'll be a decent element of Python going on with the testing and Pytest in particular. Okay, let's look at one more then, and let's see if we can find a nice one. Wow. C++. See, one of the things about Python is that it plays nicely with C++. So, I mean, you've got the things like manim, py, pyo3, whatever. So, I mean, even NumPy, it runs at C speeds because it basically is C, isn't it? So, low latency trading. Let's see if we can find one that's not financial. Cambridge. And see if we can find one that's not London or Cambridge either. Technojobs.co.uk, by the way, is automation remote data scientist. Let's throw in a look at a data science job, shall we? Okay, so we're looking at accurate forward curves to globally influential in pricing data sets in futures markets. So again, it's financial services, London office, 1 to 2 days a week, Python, NumPy, forward curve modeling with large data sets. Sounds a lot like linear regression to me. Oh, obviously. Okay. You have an academic record achievement 2 and above from a top university. If you live anywhere near London, then the transport's not a problem. But if you're 100 miles away from London, like if you live in Bristol or Birmingham or Manchester, then you really don't want to be commuting to London twice a week. Maybe if you could hack it for a year and just, but even if you're at 95,000, the government's going to take nearly half of that off of you anyway. So in tax before I get banned. You have to be so careful what you say in online or whatever now. ETL, front office, hedge fund. So I think we're getting the gist that basically the UK is just a shell of a country now, just with financial services, um, hedge fund, mm, futures, trading. So yeah, there you go. That's a flavour of what's going on in the UK. Um, I'd rather see the country doing actually useful things rather than just moving money around and taking a commission. But there we go. Warsaw. Okay. Trading, market to market. Okay, I think I'll kind of wrap this up here now because I'm getting a bit jaded with seeing so many financial jobs. Um, if you like financial services jobs, then this has probably been quite interesting. So I've looked at technojobs.co.uk, and the other one we looked at was read.co.uk. And yeah, if you want to move to London or if you live in London, then this is probably something you want to be looking at. If you don't, then yeah, back to the drawing board maybe. And obviously, if you can start off in these when you're in your 20s, for instance, live in the city and do all those sort of things. But I think once you get past that, and you're probably going to want to have a little bit more autonomy. Maybe not be so worried about the salary, um, and maybe specialize. For instance, you can start off being exposed to all these skills, which is probably a really good thing. But as time goes by, you're probably going to want to narrow down this list of things. For instance, looking at this, we could probably slim all of these skills down to machine learning, Python, data science, or Python, SQL, data science. You could pick 3 of those and then really kind of, excel in those and invest your time and your career in say 3 of these. Because you're not going to, you're never going to be, you're never going to be an expert in C# and JavaScript and Python and Ruby. And also, if you get really good at one of these, you're probably not going to want to have to do loads of agile stuff. You're probably just going to want to do something interesting, creative, off your own back in a smaller team, maybe, or not even in a team. Build something yourself. I think there's a lot to be said for writing code, learning to code, and then actually using your domain knowledge. So if you're an expert in, I don't know, crop yields in agriculture or something, um, combine that with your knowledge of Python, machine learning, and just really excel at that. And then you don't need to get dragged into a lot of the other bits and pieces that go with being a coder, um, or having to travel to London 2 days a week. And yeah, there we go. Again, ABB. So yeah, these jobs that we're looking at do have quite high requirements for qualifications. So if you're looking at these and thinking, oh, I can get a job, a really well-paid job in the UK doing Python type of stuff, possibly, but you're really going to have to be very well qualified from a good university and so on. So these jobs, these jobs are very kind of, I'm not going to say mainstream, but I can't think of a better word. So this is what the mainstream's doing. And just remember there isn't just the mainstream. You don't have to work in London. You don't have to aim for these sorts of salaries. Do something interesting. Do something that excites you. Do something original, rather than chasing I was going to say Yankee dollar, but rather than chasing the sterling pound. If you've got a huge mortgage, then maybe you need to do all this. But if you haven't yet got a huge mortgage, or if you've got a small mortgage, then just do what you want to do what interests you, and don't be a wage slave and chase the money because you won't enjoy it. And I read something the other day in a book called The Fiat Standard by Saifedean Ammous. In the old days, people used to save for a rainy day. Now people swap their future sunny days for the present. So don't buy a huge house and swap the next 10 years of your life to traveling to London and doing lots of agile meetings if you think there's a chance it might drive you mad. So just ponder that. I'm not being cynical or jaded, but it's just there's more than one way to skin a cat, which is an English phrase, which means there's always more than one solution to a problem. Or when I say a problem, the problem is the problem of how you do work, how you get paid, where you get money from. Assuming that you want to keep doing code, but even if you don't want to do code forever, then you need to be the best that you can be at the moment, because, as I say, things are unfolding so quickly. You probably just want to, stockpile a little bit of money if you can, even if you're not chasing the highly paid jobs. Even with a normal paid job, it's probably worth just bearing in mind that to have some savings might be a good thing. For instance, if you ever wanted to move abroad, or if you don't own a house, then just to have some savings gives you the options in the future if you wanted to move abroad or go elsewhere and set up a business, buy a 3D printer. Yeah. So thanks for watching. Hopefully this has been a little bit of, I don't know, lifestyle advice, work advice. I wouldn't say advice, but possibly I've discussed some things here which might make you look at things a different way, or might make you think that, or just contemplate that there might actually be more to life than actually just being a graduate junior software developer in London, having to know Java, C++, Python, JavaScript, C#, .NET, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, on that bombshell, thanks for watching, and I'll be back in due course.